So, okay, I haven't made one of these actual long videos in a while. So, it is now actually 6 months in that I've owned this crazy thing. And I've driven it only on the weekends, but still racked up about 22. I bought it at 3,000. So it's more than 22,000 miles on this, which, I wouldn't say that's a lot of miles, but that's a lot for a weekend. And I basically take it every weekend to, the mountains. So they are not easy miles. They are 2,000 driven hard miles. Like, I'm not bouncing off the limiter, but I'm 1,000 RPM away from that. So, yeah. How was the ownership experience? So, yeah, why did I decide to make this review? 6 months in, I'm just curious, myself even, like, how is it going to hold up in 6 months? And, in short, fantastically well. The thing is that, what I always say about this car is that don't bother counting the thing that's broken, because there's going to be more broken thing than thing that's working in this car. But the major thing is everything that's broken doesn't get in the way of me driving. I think the sketchiest thing that has broken / just came loose was the drive shaft. It was just rocking inside and created a terrible rattle, but I just locked it tight with some wrenches and... Well, there's your problem. Yeah, it's all normal. Everything mechanically is normal. And the other mechanical thing that I had is the other day when I was on top of the mountain after a very hard drive, basically pinning my RPM at about 5,000 RPM, 5 to 6,000. Yeah. I have 2,200 miles driven on this thing now, and none of them are easy miles. All of them are sort of towards... it's kind of sketch, but I really enjoy the kind of miles. I'll make sure every corner I turn has a bit of tire chirp with it. Yeah. I'll talk about handling and everything else later, but let's talk about the mechanical, reliability. The other day, the car just sort of refused to idle, and guess how I fixed it? Foot pinned to the floor, first gear, rev it all the way to 5,000. The problem's gone. I think it just sort of feeling like coughing. When you're coughing all over the place, and then big piece of mucus came out. Oh, everything's fine now. That's what it felt like. I think that happens once or twice, and I feel kind of sketch doing that, but I guess that's how you're supposed to do it. I don't know. So yeah, about the things that I fixed. Yeah, the biggest thing that I, invested my time and fixed, definitely the suspension. Because one of the shocks originally came, it was it's completely blown. There's no shocks in there. No fluid, no nothing. So basically, the first time I driven up, basically a mountain road, poo came out. Yep, a lot of poo. I was barely driven at speed limit, and holy moly, the car handles like a bowl of fucking soup. It's terrible. It's horrifying. But after the coilover, the Silvermine motors, I spend $1,300 on those. Excluding, the time where I have to spend $200 extra for a different adapter for the rear wheel, because apparently the car have different front and rear suspension, from different cars. The front is from a 240, the back's from 280. Ask me why, I don't know. There's a lot of questions I also don't know about this car. So I might as well just not ask. But after the suspension, everything in this car, it feels, obviously, I'm not going to say, oh, it transformed this car into a Miata. No, it's not a Miata. It's not razor sharp. I've driven quite a few of my friends' car. I've driven an E36 M3. I've driven a 944. Yeah, those cars are very, very sharp. Much sharper than this car. This car feels if you say it in a bad way, lousy, lazy, blah, blah, blah. But I would like to just put it in a certain term called laid back. This car have the steering. It's completely manual steering, by the way. You have a lot of on-center vagueness. I want to say a lot, just a little bit of on-center vagueness. But once you get in the corner and you start attacking it, the feel is all there. The steering feel is all there, and there's no problem with it. And with the shifter, yeah, the second gear is going out, but that is not a new problem that I've, gained. That's just been a problem the entire time. But the shifter, let me show you. The shifter is, there's a lot of throw. Like, this is not good for, sports driving. There's so much throw. But every time you just shift into the gear, it's satisfying. There's something about it. I do not know. It might shift like a bus, but there's something really satisfying. Yeah, and the shifter is good. The steering feels... Focus. Thank you. Yeah, the steering feels good. The steering feels fantastic. The entire car, it flexes. I mean, hey, it got this roof sawed off at some point. You cannot expect it to be as rigid as it was, and these cars were never rigid in the first place. So these cars do flex. And because I only got coilovers, I also ordered anti-roll bars. They never arrive, and I never paid for it. There is body roll. Definitely there is body roll, but that sort of adds to the fun because it makes taking a corner at 50 feels like you're going at 80. I was in my friend's car, like the E36. He was driving it. I was driving it slowly, but he is pushing it. He was legit pushing it. 240 horsepower. Never felt that scary before. But he was pushing it hard, and holy moly, that car feels fast. But when I get back in my car, I was like, okay, that thing is fast. But when I get back in the car, take the same corner at maybe 50% of the speed, it feels just as fast. Because there's body roll, there is a little bit of unsettledness inside, and there's just a little bit of fun. There's a little bit of fizz to just everything in this car, and that's what I love about it. It is not perfect. It's definitely not. If you're going for something perfect, go for an MX-5. Go for an NCMD. Those are much better track car than these. But for just a unique experience, a unique driving experience. Can't beat it. You can't beat it. Then let's talk about something like the modifications I did. Let's start from the very small ones, the big ones. The mirrors, they're a little bit better. Still useless though. No worries about that. I got some aero kit. This is just basically some fiberglass. Not very well done, but will do. Fits the rest of the car, I guess. Oh, and also, the part that is not originally made in Japan. I think this is made in US. Yeah, the trunk was catching itself on the back, so I have to plier it back all the way. That's not good looking. It's actually very ugly, but will do. And I changed out the headlights for some new ones. They are much brighter, but I think I broke one of it today. I do not know why. I do not know how. Yeah, I did break one of them. Motherfucker. Yeah, that's a future me problem. And definitely biggest thing, coilovers. BC Racing, I think it's by Silvermine Motors. Fantastic coilovers. For $1,300, not cheap, but it absolutely transformed the car. From something that I am honestly scared to drive to something that is really fun in a different way. It's not just sharp and attacky. This kind of suspension, I really like the spring rate and the dampening settings that I already tuned onto it. Basically, the spring rate, it's stiff enough for you to feel what the car's doing, but it's also soft enough for you to just cruise on the highway. The other day I was just cruising on the highway. My friend was like, "Oh no, this road is so terrible." He was in the Mustang with a really, really stiff suspension. And I was like, what? Is that supposed to be punishing? Yeah. These shocks are completely comfortable. Daily usable. Perfectly daily usable. But, hey, very nice. And I don't think I've done anything else. Oh, yeah. I did do something with the taillights, but I just broke it more. Honestly, we can talk about the broken things on the car. Taillights, only one side of turning signal works. The brake light doesn't turn on any brighter. It's only the taillight that works. Yeah, if I got pulled over, I got fucked. The front of one of the headlights, it just went out today. It's not supposed to be out. Yeah, that's the only thing that's impeding my way from, safely driving this. Everything else, honestly, I don't see a big problem with it. But, yeah, I'm just really surprised to how well just everything just came together. Because it's also a California-owned car, so everything is surface-level rust. It's just like, something like this, rust-free? How? Because I went back to see, Mighty Car Mods build on their S30 chassis, and they bought something that's like 30, 40 grand, and you still have a shit ton of rust underneath. And everything is surface level, and all the nuts just doesn't even need a lot of convincing. Just put, and it's come off. I'm not sure if it's not tightened enough, or I don't want to think about it, but everything just pops off very nicely. And it is honestly a joy to work on this car, because everything is so simple. You barely need the owner's manual, unless, you need the owner's manual to take a look at the torque specs. But everything else, it's intuitive. It's super simple to work on. Everything, it's designed as if you're supposed to be working on it. And I love it. I absolutely love that about this car. And now, I think you'll be just curious about how much all in I spent on this car, which, for something that is always just getting a lot of attention, good type of attention, it's like, oh my god, what the hell is this kind of attention? It's like, for the boomers, it's always, oh, I used to own one of these kind of attention. And for, just this much, just fun, and it's $7,000 when I bought it, and I went to the mechanic twice for something, both of the thing which I can fix myself, but I was just in a time crunch. I spent a grand on those two visits. Yeah, not the best, but will do. And the fiberglass spoiler and splitter and spoiler, those two together are $300. And I think coilovers, those were supposed to be $1,400, but I spent another $200 because I was a dum-dum. And I do have to buy an angle grinder and a lot of tools to basically get it on. And then I was borrowing someone else's welder, so I didn't have to pay for the welder. And that is honestly, I would say $3,000 saved, because I don't know how much I'm going to be needing to pay for those kind of stuff. And, oh yeah, new tires. Those are $300 for all fours. Just the cheapest radios I can find, because I was planning to put Watanabe clones on these, but haven't gotten to it yet. I will get to it eventually, but not now. And registration, $600. Yeah. Insurance, $500 per 6 months. Yeah, I don't think you should count that in. If you don't count those in, I feel like this car, after in this kind of condition, daily drivable, everything, it is a $10,000 car. It is all in about $10,000. And for as much fun as you can get from these kind of stuff, I would say, come on, this is one hell of a deal. And you know, what is my favorite part about this car? It's the community. It's, you know, surprising to say, a lot of people will say, oh, the car community is probably one of the most toxic community that there is. But I don't think so. With this car, the only people I've been meeting are just absolutely awesome, like, just nice people. Like, from my personal experience, this car is like sort of a perfect mixture of both worlds. Like, you can double dip in a lot of the crowds. You can double dip with the classic car crowd, you can double dip with the boomers, and you can also dip into the JDM crowd, because yeah, this is the grandpa of all the JDMs. And it's honestly fantastic. It makes you able to basically mingle with just about any car person you want, any way you want. And they are going to start off asking, where the hell did the roof go? I will come up with a different reason every time. And I honestly don't know anything about where the roof went and how it was done. But whoever done it, good job. And I think the biggest thing with like having like the ownership of this car is that it really filters out, like, you know, the unwanted attention from, oh, you know, the cloud chaser saying, oh, you don't have the like the newest something. I don't know what cloud chasers do. And I can filter out like the Scat Pack gang, and those people honestly kind of scare me. I honestly, with this car, I only get myself with, like, you know, the classic car people, which I often will say, like, they're the Triumph Spitfires, the Triumph TR7, the I seen like a few Alfa Romeo, and I was like, got into a very big conversation with the owners. Honestly, fantastic. And on as well as the MX-5 gang, which is basically just a lot of enthusiasts enjoying their cars. The MX-5, the people who drive MX-5s are honestly some of the coolest people, chillest people you ever meet. The S2000 people as well, those are so cool and so chill, and I just mingle with them very well. And for everything I have sort of just started with this car, I feel like I don't want to leave this. I don't want to leave this circle. I want to keep on being here, because this experience, precious. And for 10 grand, I have managed to break myself into that, you know, the good part of the car community. Oh, worth it. More than worth it. Ugh. So yeah, I don't know why, I don't know how, I just one day came up to Craigslist and just bought this car. I think I've accidentally entered easy mode of car ownership. Everything works, everything is just fun, everything is cool, people like you. That's rare. People like you. That is really rare. And at the end of the day, that is the most amount of fun you can get for $7,000, $10,000. Come on. Come on. Oh, and also, look in the back of your car every time you walk away from it. Perfect experience. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.